This is a true story about a family of adorable penguins who go all out in their quest for food. In the freezing cold Arctic, there are some truly beautiful places that are unlike anywhere else on Earth. One such place is an enormous icy pool filled with the most delicious fish that the penguins just couldn't get enough of. But the problem is, it's almost impossible to get to. That is, unless you're a penguin. You see, in the far reaches of the Arctic, groups of these flightless, fluffy friends lived comfortably. And every so often they would gather in huge groups around the icy pools where the rare polar fish lived. These fish were incredibly tasty, and the penguins just couldn't get enough of them. One such group of penguins was the family of the penguin bichot. They lived fairly close to a large pool that was teeming with delicious fish. Every day the parents would take their children to the edge of the pool and watch as the fish jumped and splashed about in the water. Oh, how they wished they could join them. Now, when the baby penguins were born, they couldn't swim. It's just how it goes. At first, they spend their time waddling around on land, getting used to their surroundings. After a couple of months, though, they start to take an interest in the water. You see, the thing is, when you live in a group of over 1,000 penguins, there's not much room on land. So when the baby penguins got a little older and wanted to play, they had to do it in the water. But swimming isn't easy, especially when you can't even float. You see, penguins have bones. And yes, we know what you're thinking. All birds have bones. Well, technically, they don't have to. There are plenty of birds out there without bones, like the ostrich or the emu. But penguins, they've got bones. And because of this, they aren't very good at floating. Luckily for the baby penguins, though, they're not meant to float. Instead, they're built for speed underwater. They have flippers that are perfect for paddling and propelling themselves through the water. Once they get the hang of it, they're incredibly fast. So every morning after their parents had caught some fish for them, the little penguin waddlers would head into the water and practice their swimming. As they got better and better, they would venture further and further out into the pool. And this is when the real fun began. See, the adult penguins were incredible hunters, but they weren't very good at sharing. And this meant that all of the best fish were eaten before the baby penguins had a chance to look for any. But now that they were getting bigger and better at swimming, they could finally catch their own food. Of course, it wasn't easy. Sometimes they'd be so focused on catching a fish that they would end up with nothing. Other times, they'd be so exhausted from swimming that they would fall asleep and have to wait until morning to try again. And then there were times when the adult penguins would try to steal their food. This would happen quite often, actually, since the adults were bigger and stronger. The babies would have to work extra hard to make sure they didn't lose their lunch. After many attempts and many narrow escapes, the little penguins managed to catch a fish and bring it back to their nest. It was a proud moment for them, especially since it meant that they would not have to listen to their little brother complain about being hungry anymore. From that day on, the baby penguins continued to practice their swimming and hunting skills. And as they got better and better, they became more and more independent. Eventually, they were able to find their own food without the help of their parents. And this is when they really started to thrive. The little penguins grew up to be strong, healthy adults who were able to take care of themselves and their families. They lived happy lives, swimming, hunting, and playing in the icy pools of the Arctic Ocean. Did you enjoy this video? Then make sure to leave us a like and a comment so we know what to make more of. We hope that you learned something new today and that you'll keep learning until you become a great big smart penguin. Just kidding, unless you actually are a penguin. In that case, keep on waddling.